If I have a trust and I buy a property in my individual name, can I place the... You would never place the trust into your home. Can I place the home, this property, into the trust? Why, yes, you can. If you have a trust in existence, say I made the trust yesterday, or I made the trust 20 years ago, or even today, if the trust is in existence, and this can be either a revocable living trust or an irrevocable trust. Terms, they're fluid. Different people may call, you would never call an irrevocable trust a revocable trust, or the reverse. But what I do see is people like to call things a Medicaid Asset Protection Trust, and that's an irrevocable trust. Or people like to say a living trust, and that could be either flavor of trust, revocable or irrevocable. But I take myself to the side. If a trust is in existence and it's your trust, it's yours, and then you buy a property in your individual name, you can retitle that, or another term is you can fund that into the trust. Why would you do that? Well, you'd want to do that for the very same reason as why you originally created a trust. So whatever your own original reason was, that reason probably still exists. I'll give you a few of them. I'm going to coach you. A person might want a trust to avoid probate. A person might want a trust to streamline the process of how to transfer property in their individual name to their next of kin, to the people that they love after their death. You might want a trust for asset protection. You might want a trust to give property to a loved one over time. So it could be money. You'd like the sum of $100,000 to go to a certain person. Maybe you want them to get it in small little amount, $10,000 a year for 10 years in my $100,000 example. Or perhaps you want that $100,000 to go to them in 4 years, $25,000 a year for 4 years. Whatever reason you created your trust for in the beginning, it's good for that reason, plus for several other reasons. Asset protection, ease of transition for a property after your passing, to avoid probate, to keep the document private, to keep the ownership private, not public, to avoid court, variety of reasons. So if you have any question about whether or not a newly purchased property can go into your already existing trust, have no fear. It can go in there. And if you have questions, what do I need, a revocable trust or an irrevocable trust? That question was asked to me today by telephone from a past webinar participant. I'm going to use, this was a woman, single, with children, estranged from a husband. That's enough flavor for the conversation. And I'd like a trust, but which one is good for me? So I said, it's a loaded question. You listen to me speak for an hour, and you're still not certain based on what I had explained. Why don't you come into the office? So she did. She came into the office today. I was seeing people and fit her right in, had a slot available. And then in order to know which course of action you should take, we need to know some facts. You're estranged from a spouse. You have some property that was purchased prior to this marriage, so on and so forth, right? You have several children, you have several grandchildren, you'd like to provide for them in this way, your age, you're a person above 70 years of age, an entire set of conditions and circumstances and parameters. Otherwise, it's like going into a car dealer and saying, I guess I'll form the question, should I buy a 4-door sedan or should I buy a minivan or an SUV? I don't know. How large is your family? What type of events do you attend? Do you go camping? Do you go shopping? Do you have multiple people to take with you? Do you need 3 rows of seating? Do you need, a car that's economical or that has good gas mileage? All of those things. So it's hard to know because if you go into that car dealer, they might try to sell you the large SUV that's very expensive because that person makes, the most commission on that. Maybe you will need a compact car. You need an A to B car from your home to your office, from your office to your home, and you have a weekend vehicle, or you travel to all of your hobbies by mass transit. If you live in Queens or Brooklyn and you'd like to take the subway or the Long Island Railroad to Manhattan, and that's where you socialize. You don't drive in, so your car isn't really other than to and from work, which isn't far. You need to know your circumstances. And then we can tease it out. I can give you my opinion and say, well, based on 4 children, 6 grandchildren, 2 properties, a certain level of income, a brokerage account, a bank account, these certain categories of assets, and your age, and your need and desire to protect your assets, or avoid probate, or do both, well, then I can recommend what I believe you should do. Then the choice is still up to you. FrankBrunoLaw.com.